Krishnam would like
Sure.
to start.
Thank you. So, thank you, Guruji. So, like in the earlier session, you briefly touched upon the 4 terms: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. I mean, could you? These terms sounds to be very technical, and could you please explain and make us understand and the basics of it, so that we have much more clarity in terms of how do we relate to our day-to-day life.
Okay. Actually, it's very simple, even though the terms happen to be in Sanskrit, so we can always translate it into the appropriate terms in the English language. So the Purusharthas, Purusha is man, Purusharthas are the goals of man, usually what he has in the course of a lifetime, let's say from the age of 15, because it takes about 15 years for him to get his bearings right on the road of life. And then he is ready to negotiate with life at 15 to 20, around that time. And then till death. So what are the goals? So because he happens to have a body, and the body needs food, and so he has to earn his bread. And but he won't be satisfied merely by earning his bread. And to earn a bread, you need a skill. You need to learn some craft, or you need to learn either architecture, or you need to learn mathematics or medicine or astrology, or one of the systems of knowledge in the Hindu society, and with that you can earn your bread. And but man won't be satisfied, so the professional work is called Artha. So Artha is professional sphere
Or achievement.
Now, but man won't be satisfied with that, because he happens to have a self, and the self is actually of Himalayan proportions, very, very strong and powerful. So he's never going to be satisfied with small, petty achievements. No, because man is big. Man is the Atma. Man is the divine, in fact. So he needs also status. So that makes him, because he's driven by sensory impulses in the earlier half of his life. So sensory knowledge, what the eyes are seeing, what the ears are hearing, what people are talking about you, and where you stand in society. So you're comparing and you're measuring. And you're suffering and enjoying because you're comparing and measuring, but that's your heaven and that's your hell in which you are. So the whole of that is Artha. You want status. And but status in society may come without money, but more often than not it is inextricably linked with earnings, with income, with money. So Artha will cover also the whole field of not just professional skill, honor and achievement, but also income and earnings. And from that will come the status in society. The whole thing is Artha. So that's one goal. And you see, all youngsters are in the Artha boat. They want to go to various destinations and places, and they've got very clear goals, and they want the fulfillment of that. But because man happens to have senses, and senses are always running behind the sense objects. So there are the senses, and then there are the sense objects. So the senses, is very natural for them to run after sense objects, because when the sense meets the sense object, there is Ananda. That is the game of life. And because man is an Ananda being, so he wants Ananda in all his activities as well. And so that sphere of life of desiring and being fulfilled, that is called Kama. So Kama is the generic name for every kind of desire. Does not mean sex per se, not at all. That's a misunderstanding. So Kama is desire in its all-encompassing nature. So Artha and Kama. Now this Artha and Kama, they are like, you can see, interplated. So but without money, you can't have fulfillment in Kama. You want to come to a hotel, then you need money, right?
Yeah.
So which means you need to earn well. So without Artha, Artha supports Kama, and Kama serves as inspiration for Artha. The more you enjoy, and the more you want to ride on your horse of Artha,
yes,
and you want to go places. So they are inextricable goals of life, Artha and Kama. And they keep you going on the road of life for quite a long time. And usually they keep you on the road of life almost your whole life. Okay, if you are ignorant, that is. But if you wake up, you were lucky to wake up, you are fortunate to wake up, then you may tire at the age of 60. So 60 is invariably a milestone or a turning point when you may tire of the journey, because the journey is frenetic, the journey is competitive, the journey is brutal, the journey is self-centered, the journey is full of pain. So that's the Artha Kama journey, notwithstanding the pleasure in it. Then after that you start asking questions, what's the meaning of life, what's the purpose of life, where am I going, and what is right living? So then Dharma comes, right moral foundation, ethical behavior, what is right thinking, what is right action, what is right living, what is right eating, the whole thing, everything is Dharma, an inquiry into the divine. And Moksha is pursuit of the divine to begin with, but then that's possible only because of awakening to sorrow. Moksha means awakening to sorrow, and as a result of awakening to sorrow, next phase is understanding of sorrow. Understanding of sorrow, beyond that is the purgation of sorrow, eradication of sorrow. It's like eradication of tuberculosis, eradication of cancer. So it's once and for all, so it's not going to come back. So that's moksha. That is complete deliverance from every kind of suffering. So thought does not get up and go for a walk after moksha. No. It's learn to shut up.
Okay.
So that's why Krishnamurti said, life begins where thought ends. Life begins. And that's the life of the mystic, the life of the mumukshu.
So senses become more in control.
Senses become very alert, 1000 watts. 1000 watts. So the Buddha said, in the seeing there is only the seeing, in the hearing there is only the sound. So alert. Because there is no distraction for you.
Yes.
Because if thought doesn't fall silent, then you are the victim of perpetual distraction. Anything which the eyes are attracted to, anything with the ears are hearing, any temptation in worldly life, some new movie has come, you have to be there. Why should you be there? It's so stupid. So any new book is published, you should read it. Why should you read that crap? So you are rid of the whole thing. You are out of it. So then begins your deeper inquiry into the mystery of life, mystery of divine. That's Dharma and Moksha. Moksha means liberation. Muchyate. So liberation from what? Liberation from ignorance, liberation from pain, liberation from suffering, liberation from a sense of division which has been your strength in Artha and Kama. Strength of division and strength of competitiveness and sense of self, that's your chudamani in your crown in Artha and Kama. Now that's blasted in moksha, doesn't exist. Then you are free, you are motta. You are completely free.
So what about the people who are very strong in Artha and Kama, who have achieved and fulfilled, they have done all those things and they've earned money and they're very successful people, at least in the West I'm talking about, even after 65, 70, they get married. At the age of 70, I've seen some people getting married and starting a new life at that time.
Right.
So even these people are successful people. The Artha and Kama is fully fulfilled and fully there. They are not jumping into this path of seeing
Moksha.
the right understanding or right living or righteous living, right?
Right. So that depends on the programming. In the horoscope, you'll see that programming, how the dashas are unfolding. Each dasha is a major season of life. So after one major season will come another major season. And if one of the dharma lords or moksha lords are strong for you and they're going to play out for the next 15 years, then the chances are that you may become a mumukshu. The chances are. Then you'll start searching for moksha. So you go to, so moksha means the pinnacle of life. Then you're perpetually in a, do you become more knowing? I would say no. But you're in a state of unknowing, but life is indescribably delicious. Because You're perpetually in mystery. You're perpetually in mystery. And the divine has become real for you. And the divine is the only thing which you can truly love. Because every other thing, including your wife and husband and all your achievements, your children, everything is a passing show. It won't last. That lesson will come home to you.
Sure. So, Guruji, I'm looking at the chart, right? So, there are two questions which I have. One is that there are 4 quadrants, right? And the first quadrant you have fragmented into 2, which is after the 7th year to the 21st year, the Dharma period starts, right? So the follow-up question is, that's the first question. The follow-up question is that, are the sequential or is cyclical nature or fragmented by?
Fragmented meaning?
Fragmented meaning, so it's something like I have taken some action, I'll get a result, so I'll try and learn something else, again I'll get a result, so it's like happening, right? One step by other.
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect. So the first question, probably I will stress on why your thought process that you started Dharma after 7 years, not, is that mean that the first, after we born, for first 7 years there is no role, we are not playing any role?
No. See, when a child is an infant, and you have to be bonded to your mother, and you learn a lot from your mother. The mother teaches you the basic things, and then at 7, because what lies ahead in life is that you have got to earn your own bread, and you have got to solve the puzzle of the mystery of life and the mystery of the divine. That's the ultimate thing. So you have to be prepared for that journey, and it's a lifelong journey. So without the moral foundation and the moral teaching, which is not merely a moral teaching, it's also a teaching for your bread and butter in later life. So you learn either architecture or medicine or mathematics or astronomy or whatever it is in the Hindu society. You got to learn one of those disciplines, and with which you will earn your bread, that knowledge. Then you study it, you be with a guru and guru patni for 14 years. Your parents come and give you away to the home of a guru and guru patni, and the guru becomes like your father, and the guru patni becomes like your mother, and they take care of you, they nurture you, they teach you everything, they teach you truths about the spiritual life. Not that you understand so early, no, you don't understand it, but the programming has been seeded. The seeding is very important. Okay, it's like planting a seed. So immediately the tree is not going to come. It will take many years. It will take about 20 years for the gestation period to be over, and then for it to go into sprouting and then full bloom. It will take time. But you have to be seeded. So the seeding is done by the guru and the guru patni, and you are programmed to become a mumukshu in later life, after 60. So life begins for you at 20 plus. Life begins because you got the knowledge, and you can stand on your own feet economically. You won't be a parasite on your parents, and then life begins. So what is the first call of life? The first call of life is you want a mate, okay, because you have a male body or a female body, and that's only half the thing. So the other complement is your wife or your husband. So the two together, you form a unit, like electron-positron pairs or like Cooper pairs in superconductivity. You form a unit, and so that unit makes the journey through life more easy, and that's why in the oath and on the occasion of the wedding, you say we suffer together, we enjoy together. That's a clause.
Yes.
You suffer together, you enjoy together, and so at 20 plus you get that first call that there is the expression of sexual awakening. So you need a life partner, you need the opposite sex, then you get married, and obviously children will be a consequence of that thing, and then you're on the Artha Kama road for the next 40 years. It's a very long time.
And a very turbulent road.
Very turbulent road, and it's also the pleasure garden. It simultaneously is hell, simultaneously it's heaven. It's both. Okay. So because it's heaven, all the pain and the knocks that you get, you don't really seem to mind, though sometimes you're crying, because there are compensations. And but having walked on that road for 40 years, at the end of 40 years, you're really sick and tired of that walk, and you're asking more fundamental questions. What's the meaning of life? What have I actually achieved for 40 years? So you start introspecting, you start questioning. Then the dharma which was seeded in the first phase of life, that begins to sprout and that begins to blossom. The earlier 14 years was only programming. You were programmed. The program was installed by the teaching, by the Guru and the Guru Patni. Then they blossom and they come to bloom. And that's the thing you've got to work out for yourself. And then the final quest, complete eradication from sorrow. So what they did was, in that ancient society, they said you've got to become vanaprasthis. That is, you have to be established in a vana. Pratishtapana is establishment, vana is forest. Why? Because so long as you are going to be in the city, there will be 2000 distractions in the morning paper, you are just finished. Because you don't have the wisdom to throw away the paper, you will read the paper, then immediately wherever the paper is calling you, you will go there. Then nothing happens in life, you become an Artha and Kama animal, to put it very brutally. And then you die a sad death. Because you have not discovered anything in life, you earned a lot of money, you have a family, but your inside, is it peaceful? No, it's turbulent. Because you have not addressed the whole question of the spiritual flowering, which is what Dharma and Moksha are about. So this is the complete journey. So here in this slide, the ancients actually looked at man and did not give him some short-term recipe for success. No, they took the whole life, which is in itself a fantastic thing. You took the whole life and you see where he's born, where he's going, and you say, you just tell him how you should navigate the whole long trajectory. It is 100 years. So it's a extremely well thought out, extremely only that which can come from a visionary. The sages who are the creative minority in that society, they said man must live according to this basic program. Okay, now this is the statistical mean. Now there will be a number of statistical fluctuations who don't fit into the statistical mean. This is for most of the people. Few people will wander off this mean. They will have aberrant patterns. Like for Ramana Maharshi, no Artha and Kama. At 16 years, Moksha, finished. Whole life till 70 only Moksha, no Artha and Kama. So a freak. So for some people, even after Moksha, there will be lot of Shakti available, Adi Shakti's energy available. So they will appear to lead a worldly life. That is, they'll be in the thick of the world, they'll be amidst crowds, they'll be talking to people. You can see some spiritual leaders like that, spiritual masters like that. And not that they have become worldly, but there's so much of Shakti in them that the Shakti has to express itself out. And it will express itself through that body and through that consciousness. So for each individual it's different. In each body it's different. So you've got to understand that. And Swadharma means what is right for you, what is appropriate for you. So you've got to find that out. And keep going. So
if I have to ask one more question on this, right? What is the driving force, right? I know you explained that vibration that we get, right? Which we feel that vibration and we start acting on it, right? We may act in a positive way, we may act in a negative way, right? So to kind of, if you go back to the chart again, so what is the driving force to kind of get into some of these like dharma or, right? What, so for example, you explained the 7 to 21 years, that's kind of a period where we used to go to a school and, right, education and all. But life is a continuous process, right? We keep learning, right? So what is the driving force?
Driving force is the divine. There is the doubt about it. Adi Shakti.
Is that something what we also do, is we are responsible and we are driving it?
Of course, because she is programmed, is exactly like a software program which has programmed the engines to fire. The Devic energies, the cosmic, just correctly on Tuesday morning when the sub period is changing, a new engine will start firing. So that will give you new thoughts, new aspirations, new feelings, and new outer circumstances even, meeting new people. Okay, then life goes on. Now, as I said, you are a participant in it. You are a participant in it. Okay, and so the energy will come through you. Then you will say, if your third house is very strong and you are very motivated, your first house is very strong, then you will say, I did this, I did that. Okay, you will say that. That is not wrong, that's correct. Okay, because the divine has become you. Therefore, that language is correct only, it's not wrong. But the whole thing, because it's programmed, you keep moving on that escalator or whatever you want to call it, that what you see in mall, no? You keep going, suddenly you'll fall down also. So it's according to the programming, you keep going and you get the feeling that I'm doing this, I'm doing that, oh this is so nice, I have to go, I decided to do this, you say. You say that, okay. When the third house may be very strong, the first house may be very strong. So you get a sense of agency that I am doing it. And if you don't have a strong third house, you are not a motivated person now, you don't have a strong first house, then you will say, okay, that opportunity, you will be little dull. Okay, that opportunity came to me, I took it, little dull. Okay, but the divine is driving you. Whether you are dull or whether you are very exuberant, you are very active, whole thing is orchestrated by the divine. Even if it's a silly event in your life, the divine has created the silly event.
So all you can do is just watch.
Just watch, understand the mystery.
The play
very
happening.
mysterious it is. Whole thing, tremendously mysterious it is. And people are saying that they want to have some great liberation. This life itself is the liberation. Where do you want to go? I mean, you're put in heaven. It's like you being sent to heaven, okay, and put in the best heaven version of GRT. You're put there, and then you're telling anything better than this. What's this thought? You're crazy. This is Maya. You're already in heaven. Every moment is so mysterious, so delicious. If you're rooted, you'll get the mystery. But because you're shaking and you're moving, you're not getting the mystery. You're too much shaking with thoughts. That's what I call vibration. So then you don't get the mystery. Then the sense objects become very interesting. The goals of life become very interesting. Running here, running there, that becomes very interesting. And okay, that's not wrong. That's also a divine play. Yeah. But a time may come when you may tire. And a time may come when you do stock taking, when you ask new questions, dangerous questions, dangerous for Artha and Kama, but very fruitful for Dharma and Moksha. Then a new chapter may begin.
Guruji, cannot this all four, Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha, run simultaneously in one's life?
Yeah, the whole thing can run. It's a question of sense of agency. No, there was a very illustrious saint from Andhra Pradesh, Veera Brahmam. Now, one of the grandmasters and Trikala Jnani, so able to see the future. And so the first thing he did after he got his jnana, Sampurna Jnana, he said, I want to get married. He got married and he had 4 children. Okay. Then you have the American very great mystic, Bernadette Roberts. Okay. She meditated and meditated and meditated in monasteries for years and years. Then she said, now I want to get married. And she got married and she raised a family. And we people have drawn a very black line between normal life, and then we say everything on this side is very white and very heavenly. Everything on this side is all black and hell. This is nonsense. It's complete nonsense. Because of our shallow understanding. The whole of life is divine. Everything. The wars, even the prostitution, the terrorism, everything is the manifestation of the divine. Now, when you don't bring in the divine and you look at the full spectrum, then you'll get so confused, it will only seem to be chaos. Now, Jyotish shows this to be order. Astrologer knows it's immaculate divine order. That you've got to find out for yourself. You think it's chaos. Suddenly something is happening, a flood is happening there, 4 people were shot, everything. But everything is happening according to the chart. The divine is orchestrating it.
So if I have to step down, right, it is happening as per the chart or the divine orchestration, right? Again, we talked about Navagraha Devatas in the beginning, which is kind of is a driving force. So if you look at these 4 quadrants, so each of these forces has kind of influence on this. I mean, what I'm talking about, their taste of it. Say we have sun, right? We have moon. So each of them, they have taste of their own, which will say they are part of say Dharma. Which if there is sun period going, probably that's part of the Dharma, and if it is Jupiter, maybe Dharma, and so on and so forth. Is there any particular taste of each planet?
Of course. The cosmic energies which are the sun, moon and Jupiter, they have sattva guna pradhana. They are predominantly sattvic. Sun, moon and Jupiter, 3 planets. Now Mars is rajasic, Venus is also rajasic, and Saturn is tamas. Saturn is inaction. And Mercury is mutable. Depending on the influence of Mercury, it can change anyway. And Rahu is Rajas. It's in many ways Rahu and Mars are same because they're cosmic life energies which create passion. Rahu and Mars, passion. Now Ketu is self-negation. Rahu is self-aggrandizement. That is, you work for yourself. You want to become somebody bigger and bigger and bigger like that. And Ketu is you say, I don't want to do this. Oh my God, I'm too humble. I don't want. Please leave me alone. That is Ketu. That is Ketu talking. So, and Ketu is a karmic significator. Rahu is a karmic significator. So, the cosmic life energies definitely have their general significations, their hallmarks, and they play out in your life. And the lordship over houses plays out in your life during the dasha and during the bhukti. So the engines are firing in that model.
Yes, Guruji.
Engines are firing, strokes are firing.
So when you said karmic significator, one question comes to my mind, right? It depends on the karma. So is there any kind of what we take, any baggage from the previous life is also part of the karma for what we are kind of in this life? So how that kind of
how does the cause and effect play the role?
Is there any leftover, right? And we kind of either taking from the beginning, we're getting into some direction of Artha or Kama or Moksha from the day one, or
See, some people of traditional Vedic astrologers, they will say the 5th house is Purva Punya. It's called the house of Purva Punya. And the 9th house is the Punya that you do in this life, traditional Vedic astrology. But Professor Chaudhary has completely reversed the thing. And I know another Vedic astrologer in America, James Braha, where he has made the extremely important observation, which I've tested in many charts and found to be true, that if you have good planets in the 5th house, then you will not be without an outstanding achievement in this life. This is James Braha's Sutra, and so 5th house is this life, okay, good things. And 9th house is brought forward case, brought forward from past life. So let's say you have a strong 9th house.
Yes, good.
Huh? So then that would mean that lot of good karma has been brought forward into this life.
Yes, Guruji.
You following?
Yes, Guruji.
But you want to ask a question?
Yes, Guruji. I was trying to understand how does this, we are seeing all these events are happening according to the divine will and the divine architecture, right? So one is how does an event emerge, and then how does it it develop, and what kind of sutra, because we are saying that we have to understand things with sutras. What sutra can you apply to understand any event in life is born and it is slowly developed, and then it bears its own results, right? The cause and effect of it. So what sutra do we understand with that, for that?
Sutra is, you see, I've been, because I'm driving on the road, and I know Jyotish, so I'm obviously thinking about accidents. So I always wonder, very struck by the fact that an accident is going to happen from 7 minutes from now, let us say.
Yes.
Okay. Now, absolutely no signs that the accident is going to happen, absolutely no signs. But it is there, as they say in the English language, in the womb of time. Antargarbhitanga undi. In the womb of time. It is there, hidden in the unmanifest. You can't see it. You're following this? You're following this? It is unmanifest. It is hidden. You can't see it.
Yes.
Now, exactly when the orb of affliction decreases by the minute, the orb is decreasing, then suddenly it will manifest.
Suddenly, from nowhere.
Nowhere. That is the mystery. Because the whole thing is the divine orchestration, it is. But the good astrologer will know that this event is going to happen. And my guru told me a very amazing thing when I was in school. So he told me, and I developed a wrong understanding of what he said. So he said, you know, there was this Siddhar called Bhogar in Tamil Nadu, very great, who took actually the Nadi system from India to China. Okay, Bhogar is his name. And he was a great yogi, Mahayogi, with a lot of siddhis, a lot of special knowledge. And so Bhagavan told me that Bhogar used to control the planets. Okay. Now I, being an apostle of faith, immediately I swallowed it. And because I know physics at school, I'm studying physics, I said, my God, this Bhogar, that means, that means he contradicted Newton's laws? It's something I'm thinking, small boy is thinking about all these things. Then, so many decades passed. So across my 45th year, I started learning Jyotish. And then I find, then the meaning of Bhagavan's statement comes alive into my life. Because an affliction is there, okay. And by remedial measures, actually, that affliction is not ripening and bursting.
Okay.
I know I'm responsible for it. So I am doing the same thing what Bhogar did. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
I am not making the planets wobble in their orbits. No, I'm not doing that. But what I'm doing is, the Navagraha Shaktis in the field of my life or the life of my clients, they are supposed to act in a certain malefic way. They are not acting.
Okay.
Okay. In that sense, I am dealing with the planets and changing their impact, changing their course. So this is what Bhagavan must have meant about Bhogar.
About Bhogar.
Yeah, it can't be in any other way.
Yes. Yes.
Because Bhogar can't make the earth wobble, because then there will be volcanoes and tornadoes and all sorts of things will happen. That's absurd. So it has to be a more subtle thing.
So it is done through thought.
That's the key thing. That's the key thing. That's the key thing. Man has to learn this. Only one thing he has to learn. That his thought, every thought of his, is like a pencil of laser light. It can create good, it can create evil. He has to be very careful with it. Just one thought. And the more emotion that thought carries, the thought is like a carrier wave.
Yes.
So you can dump a lot of emotion into it. The more it is charged with emotion, and more it is charged with understanding, more powerful it is. It's like a laser arrow. Brahmastra it is.
Yes, yes.
You have to be very careful with it. Very, very careful. And that is the secret of the remedial measures.
The power of thought.
That is why the remedial measures are important.
Yes.
Can I ask a question here? The remedial measures will perhaps cause a delay in whatever has to happen. But it is going to happen, or it does it completely
Avoidable.
do away with it, do away with that affliction which was to happen.
Sometimes the affliction does not ripen at all. I've seen in my life, it does not ripen. Sometimes it is ripening,
Okay.
and on the whole, sometimes you can control and modify your destiny.
So nothing is written on a stone.
Nothing is nothing is
Nothing is
definite.
permanently.
Nothing is absolutist.
Absolute.
No, no,
Yeah.
no,
Yes.
no. Conditional thing. Conditional. No. But sometimes you'll find that if the affliction is very stubborn, okay,
Yeah,
then you can't change it.
exactly.
But you
can't
can
change
reduce the intensity through the measures.
it. The person must be amenable to that. If he's not amenable, what will you do?
Yes. If he's trying to fight
Yeah.
with it.
Question, you must have faith in it. Like Maharshi Parashara says, don't teach this to people who don't respect the masters, don't have faith in the divine. You may not understand the divine fully, no.
Yeah.
But you must have a provisional faith, which is the stepping stone to a deeper understanding.
Yes.
Provisional faith, which will become richer, which will become more magnificent, which will ripen and which will flower. But even if you don't have the provisional faith, then how do you take the first step? You can't. You can't.
But just by having a faith in the remedial measures, how can we relate that the particular remedial measure for the particular planet works? Means, what is the explanation?
Explanation is that is very simple, that these cosmic life energies, they are not in some galaxy out there. They are in the kshetra of your body and your manas. They are in the kshetra. Okay. And you have a rough idea how they may work. You know that, right? So now you have a thought. You are saying, Rahu Bhagavane, please protect me. I know that you're slated to hurt me. I know what all you can do. Please protect me. Mam rakshanto, mam rakshanto. You are saying that. Now, most people may not mean what they say. That's the curse of humanity. You don't mean, because you are so distraught. Now, when you actually mean it, that's when miracles will start happening. You have to mean it. You have to be dead honest. That's when the remedial measures will work.
No, when you are meaning it, suppose you are saying with
Strong
lots
sankalpa.
of emotions and then, but then why do you have to do those acts? Like
Oh, that question. Okay, okay, right. See, it's
just the thought coming that we appease Rahu Bhagwan, that please get rid of your afflictions and I am appeasing you and don't
Afflict me.
So just the thought you feel is enough, rather than doing any kind of parihara, any kind of
that parihar.
yeah.
How the parihar is related with the sankalpa?
Okay, this is a very, very good question. You see, most people are not doing the remedial measures, and the reason is that you will do a remedial measure only if you have an intellectual conviction about the mechanism of the remedial measures. You must have an understanding how it actually acts. Now, when you don't have that clarity, when you don't have that understanding of how the remedial measures actually act, then you will bring up this question, which is the question of a doubting Thomas, and then you will refrain from doing the remedial measures. So when you have that kind of a doubt, you must seek for clarification. Now, to have a thought that, oh Rahu Bhagwan, I know that you are slated to do this, so please save me and please accept this, please be kind to me, please be kind to me. You are sending out that thought. Now, to send out that thought is one thing, and it is quite another thing to express that thought through a ritualistic action. So when you express it through a ritualistic action, the action from the Manas plane, from the plane of the Manas, it is manifested and sent into the outside world. Your intention is it goes like an arrow into the outside world. Now it is very subtle energy. You can't see it, but it's exactly like like an arrow which is going to do work in the world. Okay. Now you go to Brihat Parashara Horashastra, the books which are there, and you will see that the Parihara for Mars or the Parihara for Jupiter, you have to chant the mantra 1,00,000 times. Now I am asking you a question. Now 1,00,000 times, if you chant like a robo, is it going to work?
No.
No, obviously not. So that means every unit of that 1,00,000 times, you've got to be dead earnest, dead earnest, dead earnest, right? Correct? So when you're dead earnest and you actually express it in action, keep a laddu every day. Keep a bundi colored laddu. That's the thing. Because that bundi colored laddu has the Jupiter energy. So offering it to Ganesha, Mam Rakshantu, please be kind to me, please be kind to me. You're saying that, you mean it. And you express your problem also. I've got a problem like this, I want more grace. Now, you have created a new energy field. You have created a new energy which will overwrite on the karmic pattern in the chart. It will overwrite. It will overwrite. That's the mechanism of the remedial measures. Now,
but with the thought. Why?
Thought.
Yeah.
Understand.
Thought is there, and we have to have some action so that the thought gets positive. So why the action? We can have this bundi ka laddu for Rahu also. Suppose. Why we are relating Rahu with crow and bundi ka laddu with this and
that is the knowledge which the sages have given us. So you must start thinking about it, because take Saturn. Saturn is the Vahana for Shani Bhagavan. Now Shani Bhagavan is a cosmic malefic life energy, but he is born to Surya Bhagavan and Chaya. Okay. Suryaputra and Chaya. So because half of Shani Bhagavan is coming from illusion, though Shani Bhagavan has that maleficity. Not that he will not do good, he does a lot of good also. Okay. So now if you watch crows, have you watched crows? Okay, you watched. So what did you find out about crows? Crows are bad. Crows are cruel. Yeah. If you watch, you'll find out.
Selfish. Yeah, you can
Cruel, survival.
Cruel,
yeah. So that's why they attach that Shani Bhagavan to. Why did they attach Garuda to Vishnu? It's a majestic kingly bird, right? It's always in the heavens. That's Vishnu Loka. It's in the heavens. And there's no struggle. It never flaps its wings. It's effortlessly gliding. Watch Garuda? Yes. Effortless. So like that they associated these animals and then various implements.
Colors.
For a Muruga, for example, he is associated with the spear because he is the warlord of Mars, battle lord.
Kartikeya.
Because without Mars, you lose in battle. And so this is so that is why, as I told you, Vedic astrology, it cannot be extracted and separated from the Vedic religion, from Hinduism. So you can't study it separately as an amputated organ from the corpus of the Vedic religion, from Hinduism. You can't do that.
Yes.
So, because whatever is there has come into this.
Yes.
So you must understand the Hindu religion, the Vedic religion, in order to make complete sense of Vedic astrology. Because it is Vedanga Jyotisha. It's an anga of the Vedas. Vedanga Jyotisha. Its function is to see. Jyotisham ayanam chakshuhu. So it is ayanam is sthanam. So what is the place of Jyotirvidya or Vedic astrology? It's in the eye. What does the eye see? The eye sees things, sees reality, sees the divine. It's the instrument of perception. So this whole Jyotirvidya, it is a tool or an eye for you which will enable you to see life and see the divine and to understand everything. The result will be in accordance with how you deal with the remedy and how much you invest emotionally and in understanding and in time. Result will depend on that.
Actually, now I recollect this, that remedial measures, all this, in our culture, it is inbuilt. Inbuilt means we have the family traditions, like in the morning we have chapati for roti for cow, and then in the evening for dog we have. So, and we keep water for
Birds.
So these were all integrated into the normal life
Culture.
Or life this thing. And any guest coming, we welcome the guest and feed him nicely. So those were the really were
Can you tell me what's gone wrong with this?
But Sankalpa is not there.
No intention. Yes.
Intention is
It's
not
not there.
associated.
And you don't know why you are doing it.
intention of the woman of the house was there to keep the family.
But without understanding.
Astrological Sankalpa is not there. That could also be there.
Astrological sankalpa, but it need not be astrological sankalpa.
No, that will have.
But they
Sankalpa
were
is
just-
there. That
No,
with-
Sankalpa is, see, Sankalpa, originally it must have been done as Rahu Ketu Pariharas, feeding the crows, for example. Everybody at 10:30 in the morning they feed the crows. Okay. But if you ask them why are you doing it, they say no, we have to do, only then good will come to us. So that actually,
Or
Forefathers
our forefathers
are
have done
forefathers
that.
are true.
so you're doing out of fear. You're not doing out of understanding, and it's pandering to desire and appeasing fear. Now, these are very shallow goals of human life. This is deplorable. It is. You've got no higher aspiration. You're just a surviving animal. Just your bread and butter, your survival. You've got to succeed in society. You've got to get somewhere. Is that all there is to life? You're so shallow. You never bothered to ask, why should I feed the crows? You never, I mean, how dull you must be, how dull, enormously dull you must be, how tamasic you must be, that it never occurred to you to ask for the meaning of these things.
To inquire.
Because you're so much hemmed in by the Ketuvian fear in India's chart. So much of fear. If I don't do, oh my God, then bad will happen to me, so I'll better do.
Guruji, coming back.
yeah.
Coming back, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. See, you people are not checkmating us. You've got to be straying quite often. It's not right.
It's a good question, right? I mean, we'll like probably.
No. See, it may be a good question, not connected to this. You should not stray.
So, coming back on the 4P model, 4 Purushartha model, right? If you look at the day-to-day modern life, right, whatever the chart currently is showing up may not be that relevant, because the moment the boy start talking, right, in the 2 years we start sending him to school, right, at least he knows one language,
So the-
right? So how in the modern life, how this works? I mean, these 4 quadrants or 4 terms
Yeah.
will fit in.
Simple truth is that modern life is not driven by the wisdom of the sages. Ancient life was driven and guided by the wisdom of the sages. So, who are the counterparts of the sages? The scientists. So, your scriptures in all your schools is maths, physics, chemistry. That's your religion.
Yes. Good.
Okay. Your parents are constantly telling you you've got to do well in maths, physics, chemistry, because it's become a bread and butter survival question for you. Okay. So, you.
And also straying away from religion.
No, religion is
so
completely gone out of your life.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
stray from that.
So, for survival, maths, physics, chemistry. Not that you love it, but you can earn your bread if you study maths, physics, chemistry properly. So your entire effort and the effort of your parents is only on this maths, physics, chemistry, the survival thing. Now, there is no larger understanding, clear understanding of life, no question of the divine at all. Okay. And even if the divine comes into your life, the divine is there in order to pander to your desire, in order to appease your fear. No more functions of the divine. The divine is not going to reveal any more mysteries of the universe to you because you are not asking for any of those things. You never ask any question. You only come to beg, basically. You come to the divine as a beggar. So what do you want? I want success. So that's the only thing you ask. I want success. I want good health. I want this. Every time you're a beggar like this. It's shameful. 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 You want to be a beggar all your life?
So isn't it we handicapped dharma, the spiritual education, I mean, in the modern life? And if you look at how do we get moksha, but we are not even taught about it.
Right.
So with that aspect, what do you think that in a modern day-to-day life, moksha means?
No, moksha is too far away for moderns. First you got to come to dharma, which is a prelude to moksha. You got to be ethical in life. You should not tell lies. You should not cheat other people. You should not cheat yourself.
You must practice all these things.
You must
first.
practice these
Just
things.
apply
But
that.
that is missing today, right?
Nobody is
Basic
applying.
thing.
No, but
Nobody is applying.
we are too much materialists.
That
Too
is-
material.
That's the
That's the thing. That's why I'm hitting hard. See, I find that very sorry to say this, but I think this may not be a wrong occasion where I say these things. That I find that among Indians, when one person is speaking, nobody listens to him. I find this absolutely amazing. Because your capacity for distraction and your capacity to be inattentive, when anybody speaks anything to you, you never listen as a rule. As a rule. This is your normal mode. If you listen, it will be a very exceptional thing. And simultaneously in every house, 4 or 5 people are talking simultaneously. And I've always wondered, who is listening to whom in this melee? Nobody is listening to anybody.
It's like parliament.
Huh?
Yeah, parliament or the TV news.
Media channels. and
Media
parliament.
channels. Everybody's just shouting.
Yeah, everybody just
Nobody-
shouting. And so we got to learn these basics. We don't seem to have these basics. And I think to learn the basics, the best way to start is self-knowing. Know yourself first.
So how the astrology will help for us, right? Because we are parents, we are citizens, right? So if something is missing, how do we create the awareness? And is that astrology will help in?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where is the question about it? You must look at the charts of your children and you must see what challenges lie ahead in their lives, what challenges, and what remedial measures are appropriate, and how can we do the remedial measures. And astrology is, when you come to astrological knowledge and you actually want to listen and you want to learn, then a new window opens for you, provided you are at the learning wavelength, listening wavelength. Now if you come as a blind follower, no window opens for you. Sorry. No window opens for you. We just come like a stupid person, follow the certain things and then expect results. Now you got no understanding of the whole thing. That's very tragic. You got to understand what it's all about, and you got to reflect, and it's basically a kind of roadmap of your life. And as the divine has ordained it, as the divine has willed it, and it's good to understand the ups and downs and your strengths and weaknesses, and it's good to understand how the divine has architectured you. First of all, you are an architectural piece of the divine, and you got to know that, and you must know who your wife is. Now if you don't know who your wife is and you don't know who your husband is, what will happen more often than not will be that you will tamper with the architecture of your wife, you will tamper with the architecture of your husband, and you will try to change them. No, you will never succeed. because you are not the master of that architecture. The divine has architectured them. So constantly you will be at a very futile job of trying to change your wife, trying to change your husband.
Constant
Husband is laughing.
constant disappointment.
Constant disappointment. And you just won't know how to deal with this.
Yes.
So you should not tamper with the divine architecture in anybody. Okay. Now you get to know who your wife is, get to know who your husband is, and respect the architecture and try to appreciate that architecture. Now what you are doing is, like what these Mestris are doing when they put up the buildings, they bend rods, right? With a lot of effort, right? Kambi valikirdi, they say. You're bending those rods. That's what you're doing to every family member. And does it work? No, the kambi goes back. Once you bend, then it will go back.
Yes.
Or it will break.
No, I think his question was how do you instill this kind of a moral education? Is that what you're asking?
Right.
Yeah, you got to send your children to Bala Vihar to begin with. A lot of Bala Vihars.
There are no Bhagavad.
You got to expose them to,
Very rare.
you got to show them good films. You got to watch Mahabharata and Ramayana with them. And not only Mahabharata and Ramayana, all that is best in the world where ethics and Dharma is concerned. It can also be from the West. Plenty of it is available. Beautiful movies, beautiful lessons.
Yes.
There's an abundance of it. And you've got to address yourself to that question. Now, probably in most homes, children are growing up like wild weeds. Nobody pays any attention. Just like wild weeds grow up, they just grow up like that. So they're not actually molded, they're not actually
Nobody's
refined.
paying attention.
Nobody's paying attention. Yeah. So that calls for a lot of time.
But
So-
just now, Guruji, we said that we are not there to change anybody.
No, but you must understand the architecture of your wife and your children and your family members, and you must not tamper with that architecture. But should that human being flower in life or should he not? Tell me that.
Everybody has to fly.
They have to flower. Now, as a father, is it your moral responsibility to assist in that flowering? Or you can be indifferent to the whole thing?
No, but to be assisting in flowering, then you make hindrances. Too many hindrances.
Oh, no.
Not if you have understanding.
No, understanding.
If you don't have understanding, yes, you bring hindrances. But if you have the understanding, then you are thinking, oh, this is there. Oh, this is now I'm going to help with this. So I'm going to support here. So that is why the understanding is so important.
I'll tell you this. Suppose Venus is in 12th house. Somebody is a pleasure seeker, or somebody loves nightlife. Somebody loves drinking alcohol. You know that it is in your son's chart, suppose. What you do?
You've got two things are possible.
You have, you know that he is destined to do all these things. Now, how can you?
You can
help
bring
him?
awareness.
How can you help him, or how can you help yourself? Rather.
Yeah, this is not an okay, this is partly an astrological, partly a spiritual question. Now, first, this is what is. Okay, this is the actual real life situation.
Real life.
Now, you've got to live with that what is day in and day out.
Right.
You've got to live with it. Okay?
Right.
You may be able to be a very benevolent influence in the life of that person, or you may not succeed also. Both are possible. Nobody knows how it will turn out. But as a family member, as an important family member, probably the most important, you have a certain contribution to make. And therefore, you have to have a sankalpa for that person. You may not be able to implement it overnight. No. So, because he has got his own destiny, she has got her own destiny, and but you can make a certain sankalpa, and you can be with that pain that what is has caused in you. You have to be with that pain. Yeah, that's the sadhana.
That is
the sadhana. You have to be with that pain. Maybe for many years.
for many.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is sadhana.
That is sadhana. Yes. Yes.
So
That is sadhana.
With that mean, we can plant the seeds,
Yes.
right? To kind of, with Sankalpa, to have, in spite of whatever what Anilji was explaining, the 12th house and Venus, right? We can put them in the right direction
if he's a grown up,
how
he
that
may
evolved?
not listen to you if he's a grown up. But if he's a small child, he may listen to you. And you've got to understand the divine architecture in each life. And you've got to help that life to come to fruition. That's the main thing. And if there are very difficult afflictions in that life, then probably you may not be able to alter the basic pattern. But at least you can understand, okay, that this is the problem with this family member. At least you can understand that.
But unless you put the right seed, plant it, you will not expect the right results, right? So how this
Correct.
process works?
No, right seed you can plant, but the seed can be thrown out tomorrow also. Because they need faith in order to receive the right seed. Suppose faith is not there, what will you do? How will you plant a seed in a soil which does not have faith?
No.
No, it won't work.
Infertile soil.
It won't work, no.
So how do we understand these planting
These are
those seeds?
difficult problems in life, and Jyotish can help a lot in understanding any human life, and we have to deal with it patiently, and where there is a lot of pain coming in, then you have to drink that pain. Drinking of pain is a very, very important sadhana in the spiritual life, in Dharma and Moksha. Probably the most important.
So before we go into the understanding of this in the Vedic astrology, are we taking, is it time for the break for us?
No, there's no break now.
It's 1:15 is when we break for lunch.
1:15? Okay.
We should finish.
It's
So
about
we can go into that.
12:35.
we can-
Yeah.
So the whole model is vitiated in modern life. That ancient model is completely disrupted. It does not function in modern life, which has become Artha Kama up to 60, Artha Kama from 60 up to death also is Artha Kama only. It's very sad and tragic. Very sad and tragic it is.
Just one question on what Anilji asked. So, are there specific planetary positions which are like got an ultimate result, and that's what it is? It cannot be changed. Do you have something like that? It can express itself in different forms, right? Venus in 12th house for somebody else might manifest in a very different way because there are positives for every planet, right? Like how we talk about negative, there are also positives.
Of course.
So it can actually become a very creative force, or it can be manifesting.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. And usually what happens in human life is that you write off people because of your shallow, poor understanding. You write off people. And when you write off people because of your shallow, poor understanding, you give up on somebody, then you're sown a seed actually. As a human being, which is to affect the collective consciousness, you're sown a seed. And when you don't give up and you're working on it without being selfish enough to expect immediate results, then also you're sown a seed. Okay, that's a good seed. This is not such a good seed. This is a seed of giving up seed, giving up, you give up on life. Seed of desperation. No hope is there. So much depends on how you respond to the challenges in life. But Jyotish will give a lot of insight. A lot of insights. Very, very powerful tool. Okay, let's get on with the thing.
Yeah, we have. If any questions, anyone else on Purusharthas?
I have a question actually here. See, having seen that these 4 Purushartha model with 4 ashramas will not work at this point of time. Actually, it's not working in the society. I have interacted with you for the past 25 years. You are a very strong spiritual person. At the same time, you are very strong in astrology. Will you be able to guide a family, if at all somebody is serious about it? Suppose a newborn baby is there, they want to grow their baby like in the right way. Will you be giving any model? It's possible, since it's possible for you, I know you.
They don't actually ask me to which school I send my child or something like that. But I have in some occasions clearly said preference, told my preference, why you should not send to that school, and people don't seem to have any power of discrimination, and there no discrimination at all. And but all you want is success for your child. You've got no other, you can't see any other thing. You're so stupid that success is the only thing for you, nothing else. So then there's no inquiry on your part, and there's not much possibility of a thing. But where there is openness and where there is understanding, I do tell people a lot of things, lots and lots of things for the whole life.
And of course, one more question arises from this actually. There are some communities, maybe like Arvindashram kind of a thing, who may be interested. I'm not mentioning about Arvindashram as such. There may be people who may be interested to form this kind of community. Where is it possible to have this 4 Purushartha model itself? They can form a society by themselves?
Yeah, there may be. If you take the Aurobindo movement, the mother and the Aurobindo movement, now it's an independent spiritual movement which is very original, and it has got very strong ingredients of karma yoga. That's why seva is very important in that. And Aurobindo was the editor of a magazine called Karma Yogi during the freedom struggle, and then philosophical inquiry and religious inquiry, because that is the sage Aurobindo's forte, because that was his power, and his contribution to world civilization and to India is the following. After we got back independence, we got the geographical landmass of India, but we did not get back the Vedic culture and the spiritual culture, which is the soul of India. You didn't get back the soul. So what Aurobindo said, what his entire life's work is, to interpret the Vedas and to make sense out of those Vedas, because there are too many cryptic symbols used in the Vedas. So Aurobindo's lifetime work is to give meaning to the Vedas. And Aurobindo has written very, very extensively on the Devas and the Asuras. I can give the references to all of you people. You can read and how these forces will act. And these are real forces in man's life and also out there in the world at large. You can see it in politics, in the history of nations, in societies, in the way societies respond to challenges. And so they have their own view of life and what is right. And for example, physical education is very important. Third house and fifth house in the Aurobindo school. And so they will not accept this traditional thing. This is for us to understand what has gone wrong in modern society with respect to traditional society. Something was holy and auspicious in traditional society which has now been lost. So we are understanding what is lost. And we have to come up with new solutions. There are a lot of solutions which are patchwork in nature going on in the world, and which serve as alternatives to an entirely secular model.